So tell us your positive story about social work.
So my name is Peter, and my good experience of social workers concerns the area that's quite difficult to navigate for social workers. That's when you have to hand over your case to another social worker. We'd had a number of difficult handovers, but this particular one was really, really good because the social worker engaged with us 3 months before he was about to leave, told us that he was going to be leaving, but he also prepared us and asked us some questions about what we were looking for with a new social worker. He said that he would introduce the new social worker with himself coming as well, which reassured both myself and my wife and it made us not worry so much about the situation. And then 2 months later, he came with the new social worker, so they were both there, both able to engage and chat with us, which made us feel a lot more comfortable about the whole experience.
Hello, my name's Carolyn, and I want to tell you about what I would consider to be the best possible social work intervention ever. Very impressed with this lady, I was. The situation was that my mother in her 80s was living in her home that she'd been in for 50 years plus actually, and that I'd grown up in, and it really was time to consider her moving into a home for dementia patients. She was a safeguarding risk. She'd leaving doors open, letting people in to say they'd tarmac a drive for 5,000 quid, that kind of thing, leaving gas on. She couldn't hear very well, couldn't see very well, and was forgetting what she'd done, so she'd ring about 20 times on the same issue. Her world was closing in on her. And I was her main carer, going in and out as often as I could. And it was considered best to have adult social care social worker come, assess the situation and help me to encourage Mum to make that awful decision for her to leave her family home. This lady, social worker, was amazing. She rang me first, found out about Mum, asked how to conduct the assessment in the best possible way. And I explained. And she came and did exactly what we had considered was best. She came in just like a friend would, took her coat off, was invited to sit down. I said my mum would always want to offer her tea and cake, and we sat round the three of us. She was very focused on my mother, listened actively, got involved immediately, because I'd said family was her life. She would say, "Oh, show me that picture over there. Oh, is that your daughter Carolyn? Is that your grandson?" And things like that. And she immediately was in Mum's world. Mum started to relax. She would look at me and involve me, and Mum would take the cue from me that I was relaxed. It was like three ladies having a tea party. So she gained her trust quickly. And she said, "Oh, show me your house." And my mum showed her around, and as she went round, she asked lots of, insightful questions to find out where Mum's needs were. And she promised she'd send an OT, which she did, and we got a lot of aides to help. And she discussed Mum's concerns and fears, and she was so positive, but real. But the empathy that came through was brilliant, and she made me feel confident too that she was going to do what she said. But she had really made the positive impact at a life-changing moment for Mum, as easy as it could possibly be. And Mum did end up in a home, and I can always be grateful to this lady for her natural, real, honest warmth with the way she conducted the assessment, because it helped me too.
Hello, my name's Peter. I'm married with 3 daughters. My eldest daughter was about 10. She'd been suffering with several chronic illnesses which were life-threatening, involving a lot of personal care by my wife and I, admissions to hospital, off to Great Ormond Street, lots of involvement of other health professionals. At the point when she was about 10, we were feeling very, very tired, quite stressed. As I said, there was lots of practical care, getting up in the nights, doing care in the night. So we were very tired, and I was working full time. Our GP suggested that referral to for family therapy for Carolyn, my wife and I, would be good. It might help us to have some strategies going forward to help us with some of the conflict and the stress that we had in our family. We attended family therapy somewhat reluctantly on my part. I think I was slightly proud and sort of, I don't want that and I don't need that. When we met with a social worker on a 2-to-1 basis, from the outset she was kind, calm, non-judgmental, didn't stereotype, didn't treat us as a case, very empathetic and very reflective. So we were working together to formulate strategies that would help us going forward. The circumstances of our daughter's health didn't change, but what she was trying to do, and successfully did, was to give us the way forward in terms of communication and dealing with conflict that might help us in those stressful times. We did return each time because we felt that she was drawing us in and helping us at the end. So when our sessions finally did end, what we had were plans. We started to communicate much better as a team. We felt that we were doing an important job, raising a family in difficult circumstances, but we had hope for the future, hope that things could change, that although the circumstances may not, our approach to it would help not only us, but would help all our family dynamics. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Mandy. I was diagnosed with arthritis and was completely housebound and dependent on others for everything. I'm married with 3 sons, and so it wasn't just me that I was worried about, but it was my husband particularly, who was having to do not just everything around the house and for the kids, but everything for me too. I was advised to have a home assessment by a social worker, but my concerns were in case they thought that I wasn't a good enough mum and they would take my children away from me. And with having arthritis, I didn't know whether it would be a short-term or long-term diagnosis. The social worker rang up and just had a chat, just to get to know me and what my worries and concerns were. When the social worker turned up, she was very friendly, smiling, and didn't have a clipboard. She said hello to my children and my husband, which made me feel really relaxed, and that they were as an important part of my care as I was. So when we got chatting, it wasn't a tick box exercise, it wasn't just answer the questions yes or no. They were open questions about my needs, what my worries were, and my main worries were for my children and my husband. It was really helpful to know that before I'd even got my care put into place, that my husband and my children were being looked after as well.
Hi, my name's Rachel. I am part of PIER membership here at Bournemouth University, and part of that was I marked social workers' presentations that were from their clinical placement. I really enjoyed doing it, and the 1 year was just before COVID hit. They were talking about domestic violence and shared some stories, and it was then listening to those presentations made me realise I was in a highly domestic violent relationship, and actually it changed my life. I then sought help, I got the police involved, I went to support services, I got all the support I needed, went on a pattern changing course, and I will forever be grateful, because when I joined PIER, I did it to share my illness story, and actually I didn't realise what I would get out of it. So for me, that's a really positive story. I've had social worker involvement during my health, but that for me is it saved my life.
We've asked you to choose a picture to symbolise your story. Can you tell us which picture you've chosen and why?
I chose this picture, and the reason I chose this picture because the puffin is coming out of the burrow before the social worker prepared us for the handover. I was sort of in that burrow, hidden away, and you wouldn't have seen me. So I think that emphasises and the sort of the positive aspect of it. So that's why I chose this picture.
This is the picture, and I've chosen that picture because it gives hope and it's fun, and I think that some of the fun that we wanted to have as a family had been lost in all the stuff of life, really, and for me it encapsulates just fun and freedom, and that's what I think that we started to find as a result of the therapy.
This is the first one. I've chosen this one especially because What happened when that social worker got into Mum's world was she made Mum feel special. Mum felt she was at a tea party with friends. We became a team looking out for the well-being of my mum, with her at the centre, and all the care was about her, and she had offered the tea, so she was giving something. She wasn't disempowered in any way. And it was a lovely event where the three of us got on really, really well, and I still have warm memories of that tea party. This one is my second choice. I couldn't put it down because of the words on it, which are: life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning how to dance in the rain. Now, for my mum, her storm wasn't going to pass, and Mum used to dance and act and sing on stage. She loved dancing, and to me this was an emotional choice because we were helping her, and this social worker was helping me to help her make that big decision that was going to help her to still dance in the rain. And in fact, when we did get to the care home, they used to put on dances, and I have tremendously special memories of dancing with Mum in her period of rain.
I've chosen this picture of dinosaurs. When I first looked at it, it looks like they're really angry and fighting with each other, which reminded me a bit of how things were at the beginning with my husband and 3 sons. But then after the social worker got involved and put a care plan in place, it was more about fun and being silly and just having fun with what we've got.
As soon as I saw this, it just spoke to me, and I feel quite emotional because that explains my story. That here I was feeling physically, sexually, mentally, everything, and I was still trying to act like being a good PIER membership and being like normal, and I was having this happen in my home. So this is what represented, but also for me is a bit of the freedom, because when you eat the hurt, you have the freedom then, and that's kind of what's happened. So then it goes back to normal spaghetti hoops.